Hello, my name is Jacob Jung,
And my name is Ethan Kwok.
and our ORP project is about helping the homeless. Book 1, Homelessness by Opposing Viewpoints. This book was very helpful because it taught me a lot of information about homelessness. In this book, I learned that homelessness is a situation in which an individual or family lacks permanent housing. It has also been a problem throughout human history. Homelessness has been widespread in ancient societies and has become less common in modern times as the overall standard of living has risen. Nevertheless, various physical, economic, social, and political problems continue to disrupt people's lives and leave many people without regular shelter. Also, in many parts of the world, wars and natural disasters have forced people to become refugees. People displaced by these crises have faced enormous challenges to survive, and many have suffered periods of homelessness. Book 2, Poverty by Opposing Viewpoints. This book was very helpful because it taught me a lot about poverty in the world. I learned that all over the world, millions of people live in a state of poverty and lack the basic goods that human needs to survive, such as food, clothing, and shelter. Also, governments have tried numerous policies to lift people out of poverty, from training and education programs to cash assistance plans. They have also sought to deal with conditions that seem to produce or deepen poverty. Finally, the concern about the effects of poverty has led to intense debate about its causes and ways to combat it. This debate has also involved discussion of the extent to which every member society is responsible for the well-being of others, and to which the solution to poverty requires individual responsibility and initiative. Book 3, Poverty by Global Viewpoints. This book was very helpful because it taught me a lot about poverty that exists within this world. I learned that the World Bank estimates that 702 million people live in extreme global poverty. This is defined as living on less than 1.90 US dollars per day. Some causes of global poverty include lack of clean water, proper health treatment, education, nutrition, and employment. Also, 2.2 million people die every year from water-related diseases around the world, and roughly 663 million people do not have access to clean water. 39.9 million people are living with AIDS/HIV today. Of these, 2.6 million people are children, less than 15 years old. Malaria deaths occur in 17 countries, 80% of which are children under the age of 5. Approximately 300,000 women die each year due to pregnancy or childbirth-related complications. In 2015, 57 million children of primary school age were out of school. More than half of them are in sub-Saharan Africa, and a further one-fifth in South and West Asia. Malnutrition is the underlying cause of death for at least 3.1 million children under the age of 5 per year. Job access to developing countries, half of workers and their families live on less than $4 a day and are considered to be the working middle class.
Book 4, Walking with the Poor, Principles and Practices of Transformational Development by Brian L. Myers. This book showed me a lot about the practices the government and other foundations, like Christians, that try to help the homeless. The book states a lot about how there should be more funds and interest in helping the homeless. Later, the author goes much deeper into the severity of poverty. The author describes with great detail what these poor malnourished people are going through. He ends the book with by going through what a simple person can do to help these people and urges the reader to go out and help these people. Book 5, Out of Poverty, What Works When Traditional Approaches Fail by Paul Pollock. This book was not as helpful as my other two books, but it did provide information that could help companies that are trying to support the people in poverty. Paul Pollock, the author, does not focus on the details of poverty, but rather the things that entrepreneurs can do to help those in poverty. He believes that to truly help those in poverty, one must give them ways to make money, not give them the raw cash itself. Book 6, The Life You Can Save, Acting Now to End World Poverty by Peter Singer. This book was a very good book for learning about the situation that these people are in. The book starts off with scenarios describing what most common day people would do when both a part of somebody and themselves are in danger. The book later leads on into the fact that the poverty death toll has decreased. However, it is not enough to have the poverty percentage decreased. Later, he goes into a 7-step plan that will help with figuring out how much to donate and how to spread the word.
This is our supplementary material. This man, he rose a fundraiser in order to give a homeless man, which in this video is him, a home. Supplementary material. Homeless man gets a home. This supplementary material was very helpful in learning about our topic, but it was very inspiring to help the homeless. This resource opened my eyes to the awful circumstances of being homeless. This inspired me because it showed me that something small to help a homeless person can have a huge impact on them. After watching this video, I was inspired to go out and reach to other community members that were homeless. I also found that homeless people can be one of the most unselfish people that there is due to the fact that they have close to nothing.
Supplementary material. Homeless man gets a home. This was a really inspiring and emotional video about a homeless man getting a home, but it did not provide any information on helping the homeless. We saw the state that the man is in, broken teeth, very small room, dirty clothes, etc., but we don't get any information on how to actually help the homeless. Of course, it would be amazing if we had enough money to buy homeless people houses, but we don't have that money. One thing that the video did was it inspired me to help other homeless people in every way that I could. I may not be able to buy them houses, but I can do little things that help them through their day or just pass out life necessities like clothes or food.
What I learned. Why did you choose this topic? I chose this topic, helping the homeless, because of an experience I had with a homeless man during the summer before 8th grade. I was participating in an activity that helps homeless people, which was called APPA. This man that I saw was dressed in rags, had broken teeth, and the only thing he had was a cup with some money in it. I met this man when I reached out to the homeless in Washington, D.C. At that time, I was walking around giving breakfast to the homeless. When I gave him his portion, this man was so grateful that it made my heart break. This was when I truly realized how desperate these people needed our help, and it could be us next that becomes homeless. I chose this activity mainly for the reason to help homeless people in order to ease their suffering.
Why did you choose this topic? One of the main reasons I chose this topic was because I remembered my Haiti mission trip last summer. I got to see 3 different towns which were suffering from major poverty. Some families had a metal hut to house 5 people, others had bare rags covering them. I saw one girl who had to eat dried mud. Later on, I was informed of the dangers of eating mud cakes were for her. It really made me realize how bad some of these people are starving, and I didn't even acknowledge or appreciate the fact that I'm able to get 3 meals a day.
What have people done in the past to serve this topic or address this need? People in the past, as an individual or organization, have reached out to the homeless people. They would create homeless shelters for homeless people to live in. They would also do street outreaching, such as giving the homeless food, clothes, and other necessities. Other people would also raise awareness of homeless people by using signs, websites, or various other activities. However, the most fundamental principle that all of these people followed was to act in a way that would benefit the homeless people and act in a way to help ease their suffering.
What have people done in the past to serve this topic or address this need? There have been many groups and foundations dedicated to helping the poor. In the past, there were basic food drives and fundraisers to help the companies helping the homeless. This food and money was later distributed to the homeless. Other efforts have been building shelters, raising awareness in campaigns, and other drives like clothing drives. These shelters have become more efficient and useful as society grows.
What are the greatest challenges associated with this topic? There are many challenges in helping the homeless. The more common problems include social interaction troubles and a lack of resources. The social aspect comes when you're helping the homeless by talking to them directly. The hard part of this is that when you talk to them, you may see their horrible conditions which may cause you to not speak well. The lack of resources or funds can stop you from helping the homeless any further. Either way, these problems can be fixed but they truly are some of the greatest challenges in helping the homeless.
What are the greatest challenges associated with this topic? There are 3 main challenges that I noticed with this topic. The first problem is trouble interacting with the homeless. The homeless can act differently from people we are normally used to, and others may feel like they should not take other people's time. The second problem is the lack of resources. Helping the homeless can be a very time and money consuming task. Whether it's participating in a drive or buying the life essentials for the homeless need, it exhausts resources at a very high rate. The final problem is the sheer number of those in need. That problem is something that can be overcome with determination to help those in need.
What was the most interesting or surprising thing you learned about this topic? The most mind-blowing fact that surprised me was that 1/3 of the homeless people in the United States are children. In fact, the average age of a homeless person in the U.S. is 9 years old. While a good portion of the homeless are under 18 are homeless and are with the parents or a single parent, this is not always the case. This surprised me because it showed me how horrible homelessness and poverty is in the United States, even though our community seems to show us otherwise.
What was the most interesting or surprising thing you learned about this topic? There were many facts that surprised me throughout my reading, but 2 stood out to me. The first one was how bad the poverty were for a few people. They couldn't afford most life essentials and were disabled in some areas because of their poverty. The second fact is that there are a large number of children living in this poverty. It must be horrible for them to go around their daily lives, yet they still fight the pain.
How I served. What were the needs of the community you served, and how did your community service specifically address those needs? The homeless community that I served in Washington, D.C. needed food. They needed food to help ease their hunger. I served this community by making packed lunches for them. While doing this, I made 50 ham, egg, cheese sandwiches. Their packed lunches consisted of 1 ham, egg, cheese sandwich, a bag of Lay's potato chips, a banana, and a water bottle. This food that I had prepared helped the homeless people in the community become more nourished and help ease their hunger.
What were the needs of the community served, and how did your community service specifically address those needs? The needs of the community I served were mostly in poverty, but the main need was hunger. Jacob and I decided to address this situation by packing small lunches and handing them out at a homeless church. Their little brown bags may have contained a sandwich, chips, and water, but it also contained my hope for them in this long struggle.
How valuable or impactful do you think your service was to the community? My community service of making packed lunches for the homeless helped temporarily ease their hunger. I feel that my community service was very impactful to the community. I feel this way because it helped to seize their hunger and help nourish them. My acts of kindness also brought smiles of joy to the homeless community. Most importantly, the food that I had provided helped them to serve another day.
How valuable or impactful do you think your service was to the community? I think that the service we performed was very impactful to the community. Not only did we give them a meal to take home and eat, but we prayed with them and gave them courage to push on in this time of suffering. Giving them a meal was very impactful because it did not require them to spend their precious few dollars to buy a meal. People we helped also gave us warm smiles that opened my heart to see the goodness in within.
Would you recommend that others do the same type of community service, or are there other ways to serve this cause? Explain your answer. I recommend others to do the same type of community service, giving food to the homeless, because it positively impacts the community and yourself. By giving food to the homeless, you are helping those people to live another day and give the proper nutrients. Also, by helping them, you feel better about yourself. I also recommend to do other community service for helping the homeless, such as creating awareness, providing shelter, or any other necessities. Doing any active community service can positively impact the environment around you, creating a better, positive, and more secure place to live in.
Would you recommend that others do the same type of community service, or are there other ways to serve this cause? Explain your answer. I strongly recommend doing this kind of community service because it not only helps others around you, but it positively impacts yourself. Obviously, before performing this act helps others physically and emotionally. It physically helps them by providing the essential needs that they require to live. It emotionally helps them because it lets them know there are people out there trying to help them in their time of trouble. It helps yourself because the feeling of helping a homeless person and getting all the gratitude in the world just for handing them a bottle of water is amazing. It makes you feel so good about yourself.
And here are citations in MLA. Thank you for listening to our presentation of our ORP, and please refresh the page after you're done watching this video. Thank you,
you.
and have a good day.